What's up, everyone? We're back with another episode of Dub Jellison podcast. They have a very special guest, Purdue guard Sasha Stefanovic. Sasha, how are you doing?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I kind of took a shot in the dark on Twitter to
Yeah,
to get you on here, but
no problem. Like you said, I've been bored within this quarantine period and everything, so I'm always open to do stuff like this.
yeah, for sure. Hey, again, thank you so much. But we were talking a little bit before we started here. How you feeling after contracting COVID-19? Obviously.
Yeah, like we were saying or we were talking earlier, but initially the first few days when I got diagnosed with it or whatever, and I was feeling pretty sick. Like I had some pretty bad symptoms. I was feeling pretty down, but after a few days, once my like fever, some of my symptoms went away, I felt back to normal. So now it's just kind of maintaining, getting back into condition and working on that and getting cleared fully, and then going from there and just working myself back into playing shape.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to say like how exactly you got it, but do you know where it kind of came from? And then what was the process like of testing positive? Like, did you have symptoms first, or was it one of those asymptomatic positive tests?
Yeah, it was. For me, I definitely, like, you could ask any of my teammates or any of my coaches or anything. I've really taken like responsibility and trying my best not to get this. I've taken it. It's a big deal, and now me being out for however long, it disrupts seasons and everything like that. So I went out of my way to do everything that I could to not possibly get it. So when I was home, I'm not really I'm not going out with friends. I'm not going to eat with friends. I'm not hanging out with other people that aren't within our basketball whole bubble, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, so for me, I think I probably most likely got it on the road sometime. I think most likely I got it uh, when we were at Ohio State, just maybe like hotel or I have no clue. It's just kind of a weird thing. It just happens within life. Like I said, I went on my way to not get it, and what do you know? But yeah, the next day after our Ohio State game, I just was really not feeling well. Texted our trainer and just I didn't go to class just to make sure, and got tested that morning, and then it was all good actually. And then the next day I tested myself again, or I got tested again, and then that came back positive. So just kind of a weird thing how it all worked out. And I got some other lab work done, I got some blood drawn, and it just so happened I tested positive for COVID. And like I said, just working my way back from being that. But I was pretty sick initially, and then now I'm feeling back to normal.
Well, we're all glad to hear that. What kind of symptoms did you have? Like, did you lose your taste and smell?
No, so that was one thing that I really didn't. Luckily, I was able to maintain both of those. But it was just basic like flu kind of symptoms. I was just really tired. I had a really bad headache. My throat was bothering me,
Mm.
cough, stuff like that. Initially, I thought it was the flu. I didn't really think I had COVID or anything like that. But like I said, it is what it is, and there's nothing really I could try to do to avoid it.
Mhm. And I saw you on Twitter trying to engage with the fans, trying to get something to do. How'd you pass the time those 10 days?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was just kind of messing around on Twitter, and a lot of people gave me support on my initial tweet. I was just saying unfortunate news and all that. So I figured there people are paying attention to my Twitter for these next week or whatever it may be. So I might as well just kind of talk to people and see whatever. So me and my brother were just I was just talking to my brother, and we were just kind of messing around, thinking of different things that I could ask and whatever. But yeah, it was, I was just watching movies, watching a lot of film, a lot of older like Purdue games. Not older, I guess, but the past few years, a lot of games like that with a lot of those guys that are now playing professionally and everything like that. But I was doing a lot of that, watching some movies, shows, just doing whatever I can to just kind of make the time feel faster.
Mhm. And then obviously you couldn't really do anything at the beginning, maybe like the first week. But as you started to get better, were you able to do any self workouts, any like body weight stuff, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely the first few days I just didn't, I was just feeling so down under the weather that I couldn't. But really the last 2-ish days that I was in quarantine, um, I was able to kind of have this to get some of my strength back and just kind of feel up to it. But still I wasn't able to do a whole lot. I was just kind of doing a lot of like stretching, some core stuff, but whatever I could do to just try to stay ready and everything. I luckily I didn't have anybody beneath me in my hotel quarantine room, so I was able to dribble a little bit in my room. So I was probably annoying a lot of people with that, but just kind of doing whatever I can to just kind of just do something, stay active.
Where were you quarantined at?
They put me up in a hotel room,
Oh,
which is a little different than everybody else how they've dealt with it, but luckily, they provided me with that. So
yeah, it'd be pretty weird to get sent off to where is it, Pville?
yeah.
Two people in there, and
Yeah,
you.
look, yeah, I would have. Me personally, I'm kind of a not like a neat freak or anything like that, but like I like to have my own
Mm.
whatever, and I know that would have just really, like I was already sick, I was already feeling bad and like upset about the whole situation, so I know quarantining with somebody random like that, and I'm sure like whoever it may be would have been like nice person or whatever, but it just I would have not liked that situation, so I was kind of lucky.
Yeah, and then they probably would have wanted to talk to you 24/7.
That's kinda yeah,
So,
that was kind of another thing I was just wanna avoid, I just wanna be in my own little thing, like, if I'm gonna quarantine, I'm just gonna be my myself and, like, have to deal with whatever, but, like I said, I was lucky.
mm. And then obviously your health is top priority, but how tough was it to know that you'd be isolated and away from the team for that long?
Yeah, that it's just the situation just sucks, it's just you can't really, plan for it, you can't really like I said, it's just kind of it's a freak thing, and
Mhm.
nobody goes out and tries to go get it, plans to go get it, it's just you just go about living life and some things just happen. So but yeah, the whole quarantine period in the middle of our season really sucks. Like, it just, we were starting to hit our stride and everything. And then just out of like just like that, I gotta go quarantine for 10 days and I'm out for another however many. And um it just sucks. It just takes you out of what you were into. And yeah, it's a tough situation, but luckily, a lot of our guys have been stepping up and everything like that. But it's really good to just kind of be back in the facility right now and just starting, just talking to guys a little bit more. And uh, it's a different feeling from helping from the sidelines. But I'm older. I see a lot of things that some of our young guys, sometimes they need help with on the floor, and it's easy to tell them when you could see it all happening on the sideline. So it's been cool these last few days to just kind of help out.
And what kind of advice, both at the, I know you weren't at the Michigan game, then you were at the Minnesota game. What kind of advice have you been telling the younger guys? If you see something, do you reach out to them, or do they ask you like, "Hey, did you see something?" Or
Yeah, it's been more just kind of like technical things on the floor that I see, and uh, like last night, like Brandon played such a terrific game, and how he was just so dynamic on the offensive side of the floor. But there was a few possessions defensively where I guess like positioning wise, he wasn't really in the right spot. So like that's something that like I'm able to see when I'm on the floor. Maybe I won't be able to see that behind me or anything like that. But when I'm off the floor, I could tell him like, hey, like that's your assignment or something like that. Um, so that's been kind of I've been just trying to help with that. I mean, a lot of our guys we know what's going on. It's just really execution of what's happening within the game. So any little thing like that I could see and help with, I'm just trying to do my best.
Mhm. And I want to ask you about the precautions that you guys have put in place. Obviously, you're the only one that tests positive as far as the players go. I don't know about the program, but um, how are you the only guy to get it, and how much does that speak to how serious you guys and Coach Payne and the coaching staff have taken it?
Yeah, it's a good point. Like like I said, like we have really taken like a responsibility that um to do everything that we can to not try to get it. You see a lot of teams in uh, wherever it may be, but they're on a shutdown or whatever it is all over the country. So it's detrimental to the season when you're rolling and you got to sit out 2 weeks. And like you see with Michigan, like it's unfortunate circumstances what they've had to deal with, that they're the best team in the Big Ten and they got to sit for 2 weeks now, and you don't know how you're going to respond from that going forward. But yeah, our protocols, we've done a good job. I mean, like you said, nobody else was positive from my positive diagnosis, and it's just maintaining that social distance. Anytime that we're not on the floor playing with each other, we're trying to make sure we keep our distance from each other. We get daily tested, wear masks everywhere except for on the floor when we're playing. So, we've taken it really seriously, and it's just, like I said, it's just unfortunate. We're on the road. We all have our own separate rooms. So that's kind of why I feel like maybe somebody else didn't get sick. I think maybe, like I said, I don't know where I got it, but in my mind, it probably was somewhere on the road, whether it's travel, hotels, just in and out. And like I said, I'm kind of isolated from other players, and we're all isolated from each other. So I would think it had to be something like that. But nobody on Ohio State got sick. Nobody else on our team. Nobody that I know of from Michigan. So, we did our protocols right. It's just unfortunate for myself.
Mm. And then what do practices and meetings look like during the actual season? I know I talked to Peyton, PJ before the season started, and you guys were doing like the pod system kind of, so it'd be like position groups or however you guys did it. But how did that change to when you guys are actually practicing during the season?
Yeah, so it kind of progressed for us throughout the whole off season. Right when we were able to come back in the summer, when they kind of gave us clearance and everything, we weren't doing daily testing yet. So we were kind of doing, like, I think at that time we were doing like bi-weekly testing or something like that. It was either weekly or every other week, and it was mainly just kind of separated by your position group. So guards would go at a certain time, and you just kept it at 5 people increments. And then we kind of switched it up here and there, and then it started to just become where it's basically like who you would live with. So that way, if one of you got sick, the only people that would have to quarantine are the people that you live with, which really helped. So, that progressed. And then once we started doing daily testing, we started able to get practices with each other, and it just kind of progressed from there. And then now within our season, obviously it's kind of back to normal. But yeah, it was really weird. It's been a really weird year for, obviously everybody, but this for us, like, it was we just didn't have like the time that we usually have. Summer wise, we always practice. Like, we're different from a lot of teams where in the summer they may be doing like individual workouts where it's just hour at a time getting work in, where you're shooting or dribbling or whatever. But like, we do practices, like, we're legitimate practices for 2 hours, whatever, maybe 2 times a week or 3 times a week, whatever the hours NCAA allows us to do. But those are big for us because it allows our freshmen to kind of learn right away and get acclimated to what our practices are really like. And then you kind of hit the fall and you already know what's going on, so you don't have to reteach stuff. So that it was different because we never really had that starting point, and then you just kind of have to roll into the fall, and then you just have to get going into practices. And I think that's kind of why you see a lot of teams this year like start slow, and now you're just starting to see everybody build and build and build. But yeah, it's definitely unique and very different. I'm sure this is clearly the first time in ever that this has kind of happened. So it's just, we're all kind of learning on the fly, but I think we've done a good job of acclimating to it.
Yeah, I'd have to say so myself. Just from an outsider's perspective, you see all these teams like, and especially even in the Big Ten, they have all these outbreaks, and you look at us, and we really haven't had anything. So
Exactly, yeah.
This is testament to how serious you guys are taking it. How nice was it to get back out there and be on the bench and see the guys again last night?
Yeah, it was a lot better than watching it from a hotel room. I'll tell you that. It was watching it from a hotel. It was very frustrating.
Mm.
Just not even being able to say anything to people, that I see. But last night was definitely it was exciting to get back into it. Still very frustrating to not be able to play, not make a difference, um, not help. But no, it was fun. I'm glad that they were allowed me to even just come back and um, just be a part of the team and help where I can and provide some type of energy on the bench. And we played really well last night. So
Mhm. And how does this kind of compare, especially last night? How does it compare to when you were a redshirt freshman? I know um, you maybe not, you maybe didn't have like the experience you have now, obviously. So was it more of bringing energy when you were a freshman, and now it's more of a leadership role?
yeah, definitely. I was actually kind of thinking about that in my mind last night. I was like, man, it really sucks just watching games like that. But I was like, I've done it before, but the difference is in my mind, like, I feel like now I can make a difference when I play. And I feel like if I would have played as a freshman, I just would have been out there just running around. Like I wouldn't have made a difference if I was out there, if I wasn't. So
Mm.
um that was one thing that I was thinking about. I was like, that's a big difference. But yeah, like, you're a red shirt. I wasn't prepared to play. Like I knew I needed a red shirt. I knew it was necessary for me to progress within my career. I'm really glad that I did it because I feel like I'm at a spot now that I would have never been at if I redshirted. Um, but yeah, now it's more like I said, seeing things out there that I know what's right and what's wrong, and just trying to help people and bring that energy to the bench when I notice something lacking, like if we're low energy or something like that. Just trying to do whatever I can to help us win, even if it's on the sideline.
Mhm. And then what have your thoughts been on the last two games? Obviously, had a little setback against Michigan, and then bounced back huge way against Minnesota last night.
Yeah, obviously, that Michigan game, um, they're a really good team. If you really look at their roster up and down, they're deep. They're really well coached. They execute really well. Just a terrific offense, but the offensively coached team. But the difference is the reason why they're so good is they actually really, really guard. 1 through 5, whoever it is, they're committed on that end of the floor, and that's what makes them so good. And they're run really well by that point guard, Mike Smith. They just got obviously Dickinson, Wagner, and Livers and Brooks. Like those guys are veteran group other than Dickinson, but he plays like a veteran. They're a good team, great team, and I just thought from watching it, I was obviously wasn't there, but we just didn't have that energy that we needed in a big time game like that. In a big time, obviously if Mackey was full, it'd be a huge environment. Um, that that we just lacked that going into that game. So it was unfortunate, but we bounced back really well last night against Minnesota, who's obviously they're ranked. They're a great team. Marcus Carr is one of the best players in our league. They're the same thing. They're really deep. They're really well coached. They're really aggressive on the defensive end. They play really really hard. So for us to get hit like that, where we started off a little slow, where some guys were hitting threes that normally don't hit threes, and kind of they went on a little run. But for us to kind of maintain that and then just move forward, and in that second half we played really well. We got contributions from a lot of guys that really stepped up last night. So it was a really big win, and hopefully moving forward we kind of take that and just keep moving forward and getting some more wins.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was at both the games, and I was up with the media, but yeah, I noticed that in the Michigan game, maybe it was a part of not having you there. Just kind of sucked it out of the team, but we didn't have a whole lot of energy. And then I
Mhm.
could tell from the jump last night, it was completely different, just the mindset. And then obviously, like you mentioned, we bounced back in the second half. Newman had a huge half. How do you think this team has evolved from the beginning of the year up until now, winning 5 of the last 6 games?
Yeah, I think it's just I said in kind of some of the media things that after the games that I've done, but like we lost to Rutgers, we lost to Iowa. I was like, the things that we're bad at, we're gonna get better at. Like I knew we were. Like I know we have the right guys in our program, and the guys that are willing to either sacrifice, the guys that are willing to do the dirty work, the guys that are willing to not score 20 points a game, whatever it may be. But guys that maybe your role is to just come in and guard, come in and rebound, whatever it is. But like I know we got the guys in our program to do those types of things, and that's how winning teams are made. And after those 2 games that we lost on the road, especially that Rutgers game, I was like, I know we got it. I could just tell the way we fight back, the way that I felt, and I think everybody in our program felt like we should have won those 2 games. And that's the difference that I felt like that we have this year instead of last year, where it's like every game that we've lost, I'm like, we should have won every single one. Like when you're going into it, like we should have gotten Iowa, we should have gotten Rutgers, we should have gotten Illinois. Like in my mind, like so that it was. Like I said, I especially said after the Rutgers game, like we don't have moral losses. Like I don't care. Like a loss is a loss, but we are going to move forward in a positive manner that we're going to get better from it. And then since those games, we've really changed our mindset going into games that we feel we could win every single game. And going forward, that's just kind of mindset you have to have in this league, that everybody's good. Like everybody's either ranked or close to being ranked or beating big teams on the road, home, whatever it is. Like everybody's capable of beating everybody in this league. So you got to come in, you got to be ready to play from the jump. And that's really exciting. Like you should take that as a challenge. You should take that opportunity and want to play every single night to the best of your ability, and just bring as much energy as you can, because that's what gets you wins in this league. So from those games, we just really, within this little streak that we've had, 5 out of the last 6, like you said, like we've just really taken that challenge. Like we're facing good teams, and we want to be one of those good teams. And I think people are starting to see that, and hopefully, we just, like I said, we just keep moving forward with that mindset.
And you mentioned some of those losses early on this season. How much do you attribute that to? You brought in 6 freshmen that weren't playing last year. I know Gills and Newman were on the team, but how much of that is attributed to trying to get them just up to speed with just how good the Big Ten is?
Yeah, it's I know from obviously personal experience, like my freshman year, like my head was spinning for the first however many games, probably the whole year, to be honest. But the difference is, our freshmen this year are way more talented than I ever was. So that's the difference. Like they're coming in ready to play, like really wanting to make contributions, make a big difference. And you've seen it. Every single one of them has had really big games. I mean, however many freshman of the weeks we've got or whatever, but that's incredible. They've came in and really accepted the challenge. You're going to take your lumps early. You're just going to, like I said, you're going to have to learn. We didn't have the time that we needed in the off season to really get acclimated to each other and a whole team setting, where we're really working on the things that we need to as a team. But they've really been learning on the fly, learning from their mistakes in previous games. Really willing to learn, just diving into our playbook, diving into, scouting reports, whatever it may be, but they're really just learning really well. And now they're producing at a high level. I mean, you saw Brandon last night, he's had so many great games, and then he's had games where he's struggled, but he's learning from those games that he's struggled and the ones that he's played well in, and learning what has worked and what hasn't worked. And he's really putting it together now and starting to become a more mature player on the floor. And obviously, I could go across the board with all of our freshmen, but they're doing all of that. They're learning on the fly and doing a great job this year.
And how have you seen those guys' confidence kind of grow, especially Jaden and Brandon, over the last few games where they've both had big performances?
Yeah, I think like I said, Brandon's just being. I was telling you just got to be aggressive. You got to. He could score with the best of them in this league, and like I said, you saw last night. But just maintaining that aggressive mindset for him. Taking open shots, getting to the rim. moving the ball when you don't have a shot is a big key. You're not taking bad shots, and just learning to play through your defense sometimes. You get defensive stops, it gets you going on the offensive side of the floor. I've been telling that to him and Jaden a lot. And Jaden is such a tremendous talent that he might be. I said this I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but like he might be one of the most talented players I've ever played with. Like he's at that Carson level talent where he could get to that at some point. Just so aggressive, so strong, so athletic, just such a natural scorer that it's so hard to guard. Like, trust me, in practice, man, like he's gotten the better of me a lot of times, he's just so unique in the way, I've never seen like a freshman, like how he is. He's got such an aggressive mindset that sometimes it helps. Sometimes it's obviously huge for him, but sometimes it hurts him sometimes. And that's kind of the learning piece that he, moving forward, he's really getting better at, just kind of being more poised on the floor where sometimes you don't always have to take a bad shot. You move it, get your angle. Next time you rip it and go to dunk it like he did last night. So he's really getting better at that. He's really learning really well. And I said it however long ago, but he's going to be a huge piece for us moving forward. And he's really helped us these past few games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just from a fan's perspective, like the way he moves is, and I can't remember a guy of his stature that just moves and can do all the things that he can do.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's similar to Carson, but he's different in his own way. But the thing that really struck me, I remember, I forget which game it was, but he went back out on the court and was shooting. And then I was staying for the press conference last night, and he walks out 5 minutes after the game, maybe, starts shooting free throws. And then 10 minutes later, Newman comes out and they start shoot. They were shooting until I left. So talk about that and what you think about those guys putting the work in after one of the biggest wins of the season.
Yeah, it's I mean, you've seen the work that they've done, their progression of players throughout just this year, but like Brandon himself from his last year up until where he's at now, the stuff that he's improved on is just unbelievable. His willingness to go in the gym and work on things at all hours of the night, wherever it may be. And same with Jaden, he's just living in the gym. Like he always wants to get better. He always wants to do more. Always, always asking to shoot, always doing whatever. And obviously you guys have seen that, how after games he likes to do that. But it's just a confidence thing with him. It's just, he's such a good player. He can make such an impact for us. But it's just confidence, and that's how it goes. Your highs and lows of a season. You play well, you don't play well. It happens to everybody. It's happened to me multiple times. Sometimes you get down on yourself, but it's just, you have the ability to do it. And especially with him, he's so talented that he has the ability to do it all. But it's just maintaining that confidence and that, that mindset to just be like, I thought he played tremendous last night. I thought he made a big impact for us. But like just knowing that, you're always needed in our game and you can always make an impact, and just maintaining a high confidence where you're doing your job every game, and maintaining that is really big for him.
Is that culture kind of infectious? I mean, like getting that extra work in. Do you notice maybe throughout your career that those guys kind of bring more with them?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, anytime that you're going to go shoot after practice, before practice, or whatever it is, we have a good culture in our program of like, a guy wants to go shoot more after practice and be like, hey, like come shoot with me or something like that. So you're always trying to do more with your teammates. You're always trying to, bring your teammates along, uplift them, and making sure that they're getting better as you're getting better too. You're only, Coach Man always says it, but you're only as strong as your weakest link, and it's really important in a college basketball team like that. You got to have everybody 1 through 15 or whatever it is, locked in, ready to go wherever it is. So you got to be ready. You got to be willing to put in that work. And you see with those guys, they're always willing to do that. So, like me personally, like I see them working like that. Like I want to go work too. It's like, it's a competitive thing within your own program where it's like I see them like they're getting better, like I need to get better. And it's good for a program. Like, you're constantly competitive with one another where just everybody's getting better. Everybody wants more. And that's really how it should be.
Hmm. And we've talked about Brandon a lot. Um, I was thinking about guys like you and him, Gillis and Wheeler all redshirting, and how helpful do you think that's been for both you guys and the program itself?
Yeah, like I said, I could speak from like my personal experience, but like I think if I didn't redshirt, like I wouldn't even be close to how I currently play.
Mhm.
Like I'd be a senior right now, and I feel like I wouldn't have had any impact on this program, if that makes any sense. Like I just that redshirt year was so big for me, just learning. Like it was more of a learning experience than anything. Um, you know, I, realistically, if I would have played as a freshman, I wouldn't have played at all. Like I just behind Dakota, Ryan, Carson, like it just wouldn't have made sense for me to get any minutes anyway. Those guys are established, really good players. Um, but it was big for me. So just learning our system, learning how to play in our system, learn defensive assignments, just get stronger, get more mentally, um, I don't know, ready to play. Was big for me. And obviously the guys that have redshirted, Aaron with me, just us working out every single day together, always getting shots, always working out, playing one on one, lifting together, doing extra conditioning. It's made us, close, within our time here. Like I always know, like I know he's got my back no matter what. I always got his. It's just how it is. And for Brandon and Mason, they've really, nobody wants a red shirt. Like it's just how it is. Like you
Mhm.
always want to play, you want to make a difference. So for them to, accept that, really work on the things that they needed to work on, and now you see, you know, earning what they've, you know, deserved. They've really made an impact for us, and now, both of them have been starting and playing really well and really producing at a high level and helping us win some games. So it's, I would encourage more kids to look at that option as a red shirt. And sometimes you need to evaluate and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, can I really make an impact, or what am I going to make an impact in 5 years? That's kind of how you got to look at it. Like 5 years from now, how much better am I going to be? And now, you're a fifth year senior making a huge impact for a team that can maybe go on a deep run in a Big Ten tournament or NCAA tournament, whatever it is. It's a huge thing, and I encourage more people to look at it.
Mhm. I know a lot of fans, including myself, were kind of confused about, especially Gillis and Newman. Less so Gillis, obviously coming off the knee injury, but about Newman getting redshirted last year. But I mean, we all trust Paint. He's the man. So, um, how does Paint kind of sell that to you guys and Newman and Gillis and Wheeling yourself?
Like I said, for me, it was an easy sell. Like I didn't have a scholarship until the roster kind of shaked up and whatever, and there was a scholarship available. But for me, he wanted me to go to prep school to wait that year to get a scholarship the following year. So I already knew I really wasn't going to be playing no matter what. And once I got the scholarship, I knew it was a real possibility. So I came in and I did everything I could to just whatever. Like, I was just working, just trying to stay afloat really. Like I just wanted to prove that I could be here. Um, and after that, I needed a red shirt. I think we both agreed. I was just, it was just what was right for me. But it's not always the same. It's not always like that where it's, you need to get better. You're just not ready to play. Um, it's just sometimes it's just either the roster, how it looks. And I think that's what Coach Payne has really looked at recently and been like, can you make an impact right now as a freshman? Maybe. You could probably, come into a game, hit a couple threes, win us a game, whatever. But in 5 years, as you're a fifth-year senior, you're playing 30 to 35 minutes. Like, what's your impact going to be then? Like, how much more can you do for our program as a fifth-year senior instead of a freshman that you're only playing maybe 5 to 10 minutes a game? And you might be helping us, but you save that year and you're able to do it when you're 22, 23 years old instead of 18. It makes a big difference. So I think that's more what he was thinking. I think he thinks those two guys in particular are going to make such an impact when they're older that it's just worth it. And you see they're already making impact now. You know, it's made a huge difference from a year. But I think that's kind of what he was thinking for those two.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know he was talking to you about the prep school route before he came to Purdue. Did you talk to Spike at all about that? Because I had Spike on the podcast 2 weeks ago, and we talked about you a little bit. And he actually went to prep school route. So did you talk to him about that at all?
No, because I never really I didn't want to do it. Like I didn't want to like because at that time it wasn't like I had no offers and I was just waiting on Purdue. Like I had other schools that were recruiting me. So it would have been kind of a slap in the face to all those schools that would have been like, I'm offering you a 4-year scholarship and you're not going to go. Like it wouldn't have made sense. So I really didn't want to do that. So I kind of like postponed my recruitment up until the spring of my senior year, just waiting on Coach Paint really, just to see if I like, because the initial, what I was waiting for was if Biggie was going to go to the NBA or not.
Yeah.
Because if he would have left, I would have had a scholarship. And then, like I said, some shuffling of the roster made an available scholarship open for me where I was just lucky enough to get it. So I was just waiting that whole time. And I didn't think the prep school thing was going to be an actual thing that came to fruition. So I was just kind of waiting to see how it all shaked up. But I was, like I said, I was fortunate enough where I was able to get a scholarship and not have to do that whole route.
So I mean, I haven't really looked at your recruiting profile, obviously, but what were the other schools that you were kind of looking at, and what stood out about Coach Payne and Purdue that made you want to go there so bad?
Yeah, I had so my junior year, I got a lot of recruitment from a lot of mid majors. I had quite a number of just low to high mid majors. Got a few high majors. Got offered from like TCU, Xavier. Those are really two main big ones, but it really just it wasn't. There's no, I don't know if it was real mutual interest or whatever. But my real it came down to Valparaiso and Loyola for me. In Northern Iowa as well. Evansville was in the mix. But it was really those two it was kind of coming down to. And I like both of those schools, and it was just I was always waiting on Purdue. Like I always wanted to go to Purdue. Growing up, I only live an hour away from here, from West Lafayette. So just going to like football tailgates when I was little, just being on the campus all the time, a Big Ten school an hour away from you, seeing guys from your area do well, like Etwan, Rob, Spike, it made a big difference. So I've always wanted to be here. I was always waiting on that Big Ten offer. I made a goal when I was a freshman in high school, was just get to the Big Ten. That's what I always wanted. And once I started to really learn more about college basketball and what teams do offensively, the ins and outs of a program, I always knew this is the program for me. Working hard, executing, just making no excuses for any circumstances, and just talking to Coach Payne. Coach Payne is just real. He gets it. It's hard to explain, but he understands more about a college kid's life than other coaches would, if that makes sense. So he's been really big in my growth as a player and just as a person within my time here, and I definitely made the right decision.
I mean, Payne's found some gems that have been under recruited nationally, like you and you and PJ, I think, were the only Big Ten schools, or Purdue was the only Big Ten schools offered you guys.
Yeah.
So it speaks to him, and find your guys' character too. You guys are two great leaders. I mean, there's countless others that I could mention too, but those are just two that come to mind. So how do you think the struggles of last year kind of helped you guys this season?
Yeah, I think it's just learning from previous mistakes. Us older guys that have been on this team, like I said it to them earlier this season, but like like we won a Big Ten title. Like we've made it to the Elite Eight. Like we've done some good things in this league. Like we've won a lot of games. So for us to be a bottom level team in this league is like not acceptable. Like we've created a standard in our program that like we're a good team that is going to work hard, play defense, execute on the offensive end of the floor, and like we just weren't doing that last year. We just I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was more just self accountability. Like I said, just taking responsibility for our own actions, like just making excuses for things that we shouldn't be doing. Shouldn't we're not working hard enough. We're not whatever it may be. But um, we were in a lot of tight games last year, but like we just didn't finish them, and we just didn't play well at home. There's just a lot of things that we just should have done a lot better. And we just, you just got to look yourself in the mirror and just be like, I think everybody has done that in our team, and just be like, what are things that I need to get better at? What do I need to do to get on the floor to make an impact? And I think everybody's kind of stepped up to that challenge. And we got a lot, like you said, like we got a lot of young guys that are eager and willing and hungry for playing time, to win, to do whatever you can to help this program. And it's really helped us this year. And these next few years moving forward, it's gonna be big.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Um, I know we're going a little lengthy here, so I just have a couple more for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, you played with guys like Carson and Klein, like you mentioned. Is there anything that they taught you or that you learned from them that you carry forward and try to apply that to now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of like so for me, like one thing I've really like learned within my time here is like learning from players that are similar like you and how they are successful.
Mhm.
So I've really, within my redshirt year, like I really focused on Dakota, like what he did to be such a successful player in this league. He, you know, all defensive Big Ten, whatever it is, like making huge shots on the clutch, like just being a solid player that you can always count on. And just his footwork on threes, his ability to come off of screens and make the open pass, pull ups, shot fakes, playing off of 2 feet when you get into the lane, like things like that. I've learned more from, like angles on defensive assignments, like how he was guarding Miles Bridges, how he's guarding like Kata Diop. Like there's so many little things with Dakota that I really picked up on, that like he's such a meticulous, like down to the second type of person. Like he's very calculated in what he does. So he's very like he writes everything down. Like he knows what he's doing at like every single minute of the day, like that type of person. And I'm not quite like that, but I am similar in that like I like everything. I'm always constantly trying to do something. Like
Mhm.
I can't sit still, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing I picked up from him. And then like from Klein is like I always loved Klein because it's like he had this always relaxed nature, like always having fun. And it's a big thing because it's like, you're in the heat of Big Ten season, and it's tough. Like it's hard. It's like wears on you mentally, physically. It's very tough. And especially, Klein, like he's one of the best players. You get ridiculed when you have a bad game, whatever it is, but like people will get on you. And like he was always like never changed day to day, like always just positive, always being just a good teammate. And that's why he was such a good leader. And just picking up similar things, like how he's able to shoot off screens, how he's able to get himself open when he's not the most athletic guy, but he was able to score a lot of points. And, from that, just same thing, like Carson, like he just goes in day to day, like always just, wanting to play, like always just ready to play, always having a great attitude, just being a good teammate, always having fun. He was just awesome guy to be around. So learning from those guys was really key in my growth as a player.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've talked really highly about Dakota. And I think myself and a lot of fans see a lot of similarities between the way you guys play. And you mentioned him hitting clutch shots. You yourself have hit some clutch shots in your career as well. Most notably against Ohio State a couple weeks ago. Also in that game, you started driving more than I've ever seen you drive. Maybe I just haven't paid attention, but what was going through your mind when you were? I mean, it felt like you took like 6, 7 layups, drives to the basket. So what was going through your mind, and what made you make that adjustment?
I mean, it's really just the way people have been guarding me. I think if you watch a lot of the games this year, like you just got to watch how people guard me and how they're just sticking on me, like they're just trying to like face guard me almost, and it makes it difficult to just get open threes. So I always have to. For me to get open threes now, it's just I need screens, I need movement, I need whatever it is. And when you're not getting that within the flow of our offense, people always just expecting you to just shoot threes. So, just working on my shot fake jabs, getting around people. People don't expect me to really drive in those situations. So, just taking open lanes when I can, open angles, and just trying to get to the rim and just trying to make plays to help us win, really. If I'm not open on those drives, kicking out, whatever it may be. But yeah, the Ohio State game, I was just trying to be more aggressive and get to the rim because they were guarding the 3-point line pretty well that game. So whatever I could do to just try to get open, get some easy buckets.
Mm-hmm. So now, I mean, you catch a team off guard, you start driving, see an open lane, you see one guy there, are you going to aim on him or not?
Man, I don't know about all that. I got two dunks in my high school career, and they were not good. Like I fell on both of them after, so I don't know about that. I mean, I've gotten a couple here and there in practice. Ask Evan Boudreaux if you ever get him on. Dunked on him in practice one time. He knows about it. But but yeah, other than that, I'm not. I'm more laid up, kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. And then, do you have any good stories from when you played with that awesome group when you were a redshirt freshman? Dakota, Vince, PJ, and Haas, and then moved to guys like Carson and Klein. Do you have any good stories from playing with them? Excuse
me. That's a good question. I mean, the whole, obviously just being in, obviously my redshirt freshman year where I'm able to, go to Elite Eight, and play with, Carson, seeing the success he had within that run was unbelievable. I'm just standing in the corner. I'm just ready to shoot if he needs it. But no, it was tremendous to see. I mean, he was he was just such in a groove, in a zone within those 4 games that we had in the NCAA tournament, that, I was just kind of sat there watching, to be honest. Like it was unbelievable. And then another thing probably that, I don't really think about too often, but like the whole Taiwan University games experience my freshman year was like tremendous. Like not a lot of people, hardly anybody get to say that they got to experience that the first month of their college experience,
Mm-hmm.
and going over to Taiwan and winning a silver medal and actually contributing a little bit. Like I actually played more than I ever thought I would. So that was a really cool thing, and just kind of seeing like what Olympics would be like. It was a weird, unique thing that I never thought I'd ever get to do. But I'm fortunate enough that like Purdue got to be the one to represent the United States. So that was pretty cool within my first 2 years that I've been here.
Mm-hmm. I actually went to one of I think it was like a tune-up game or whatever when you guys played Canada in Carmel. That was the second Purdue game I'd ever been to, and I mean I was sitting like on the floor. I mean that was insane. But
yeah, I took my first ever 3 that game and I airballed. I remember I was way too jacked up. I remember I was just rocketing it off the backboard. So it happens.
I don't remember much from that game, but I mean, there was one thing I was really embarrassed about. So Carson, it was like, I don't know, the gym in Carmel's weird. So the
Yeah.
ball went out of bounds and Carson went to get it. And I don't know what the heck made me like reach out and touch his arm. He like turned and looked at me and I was like a 16-year-old. I was like, what the hell am I doing? But
Carson has that effect.
yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to ask you, obviously Purdue hasn't had as much national attention maybe as some of the other teams in the Big Ten. Do you guys put any emphasis on being ranked, not being ranked? How much attention you guys are getting?
I mean, not really. When you look at the top of the Big Ten leaderboard and you see all the ranked teams, and then you don't see us with a rank, I mean, it kind of bothers us sometimes, to be honest. Like, I think we've deserved national recognition, but it is what it is. Like, we can't do anything about that. The only thing we can keep doing is just keep winning games. And, you keep winning games, you're bound to get ranked soon enough. So it is what it is. Like, you can't put too much stock into it. Our main concern is winning a Big Ten title. And then after that, NCAA tournament, and then whatever else. So, that's not a concern to us, but you'd always like to be up there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna wrap this up, but I mean, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. It was super fun to have you on. I'm glad you've gotten better. Hope you continue to stay better. Hope all that testing with the heart condition and all that stuff with regard to COVID comes out clean, and we get to see you back on the floor next weekend.
No doubt, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Anytime. I thank you for having me on.
Yep, for sure. Stay safe, man. Good luck.
Appreciate it.